Hey, hello. Just gonna do a little quick video on this pick here for the Legge and Asec. That's an Asec. That's a Legge, same lock as you can see. This is a new tool by GJ, and what this is about is when we take the plasticine reading in the back of here and we get our marks. This particular lock is very difficult to get a good reading. I mean, you might get a good reading, but it's hard to tell what's what on the impression key. So the idea of this is pin and cam system. You load pins in the top there, and you are able to lift those pins one position in height to test them, basically to see if you got them right. If you got one of the pins wrong, you would feel which one you got wrong, basically. So with this, being bored as most people are at the moment, I decided to try and open a lock without taking any reading whatsoever. And if you can do that, then surely that means that when you take your reading, it's a secondary thing. Like, this is going to help you get somewhere close, and then you can just do it with this. However, we're going to do it without taking a reading whatsoever, and I'm going to show you how. So, first of all, come up to this lock. I'm going to start with all number 2s. It's not really an explanation of how to use this tool. This is just for people that have it to know that they can do this. So, oops. I'm going to start with all number 2s in my tool, and I know that I know that sometimes you can have a lock where there is a no pin, and that will come last. If that's the case inside the lock, you'll figure it out at the end. So pin 1, pin 2, leave it 3, come on, 4, 5. Okay, so they're all now levers, pins number 2s. I'm going to stick it in the lock, and it'd be some miracle if that opened, but we'll start on our numbers here. We're on the left side, bought on the left, so we'll read the left numbers. We'll start at 1, and we're just testing. If you've used this pick and you've got used to it now, I know a few people have, you will know what you're looking for when one of the pins is correct. So we're basically just going to go through and feel each pin, and eventually some will start giving a little tick or a click, and you know you're probably about 1 or 2 pin positions away from it being right. When it is right, it's going to stop solid, and you'll get that familiar feeling of when you have a correct pin. So 1, getting nothing. Nothing out of 2. 3, I'm actually hearing like a little click. Not a very good one yet though, so we'll keep moving. Nothing out of 4. And 5, it's giving me that same click, because obviously 3 and 5 are the same, so we know that what I felt on 3 wasn't a fluke, and it is the same on 5. So we will currently I'm just going to up 3 and 5, just because they're the ones we felt something on. So 5 is at the far end. We'll take that out, and we're just moving up 1 pin. So we're going to load it back into here in the correct positions as we're taking them out. That's pin 5, and we're going to take the one above it, load that in the tool. I'm a bit finicky with this. It's just me, really. I'm not very good with little pins. In fact, come on, stand it up a little bit. Give me the pin. I think sometimes you have to pinch this to get it back closed, but that's come out enough now. I'm just going to use my fingers. and we'll change that to the next one up. Oh, I've taken the wrong one out. In fact, it's 3 that we were supposed to replace there. So we don't mess my pad up down here. I will put that back. And try and lift pin 3 out. Come on. No. Oh, goodness. This is supposed to help. No, that's tough. Give me... Ah. Alright, put pin 3 back and take it from the next one up. Give it a twist. Okay, so we changed those two. We'll go back in and see what they say now. Okay. Starting at pin 1, something may have changed up the front now that we've got those one more pin higher. Nope, still nothing on 1. Nothing on 2. What's 3 saying? We lost the click. Nothing on 4. Okay, 5 is indicating that it's actually in the right position. It's giving me a solid stop. So I can assume that pin 3 is also in the correct position. So they were pin 3, they were number 3 levers. So with them in the correct positions, we'll change the other pins now, because there's nothing on 1 and 2, and there's nothing on 4, so we can put all of those pins up 1. And this process is it seems long, but if you get proficient at it and you move quickly, I think it would be a valid way to do it. But it's another option. If you're completely getting some bizarre reading on your reader key, then you won't know what to do. So maybe this is a valid method to get around that. Okay, so we've moved 4. Where's 4? 4, 4, 4. 4 I've moved up. I'm getting confused here now. Pins 1. Pin 2 is moving up as well. So I know this video is going to get long, but I think we've all got some spare time. Okay, let's try 1 again now. Nothing. Pin 2. Nothing still. Now we know pin 3 is now locking solid like it should, so something has changed. We know pin 3 is where it should be anyway. Okay, pin 4 is now doing something. So if we try and listen out, I'm getting a bit of a turn on the curtain as well, whilst we lift pin 4. We hear that nice click. And we're going, it's moving over a little bit when we lift it. So we know that we can move pin 4 up. Where's pin 4? The one that's sticking up there. Pin 4 is now going up. There we go. So we're all 3s, and pin 4 is at height 4. We'll go in and we'll check 4 again. Okay, now that's stopping where it should be. I am having to lift pin 4 for it to do that little click. So maybe it can do with going 1 more pin height, but I am landing at the correct height there with that. So I'm just going to leave it for the moment, and we're going to check pins 1 and 2. Okay, so I did get a click on pin 1, but that was after I'd lifted pin 4. So I'm going to move pin 4. There he is. I'm going to move him up 1, and then we know that pin 1 is the next pin that is talking to us. We'll give it a try just to see if we can demonstrate it. What we check for, it's still doing it the same as before. So we'll check 1. Get nothing on 1. Two still has nothing. 1 has moved over after lifting that 4. 4 is where it should be. 3 is where it should be. 1 is where it should be. So it's just 2 now. It's doing something funny. I can feel it's bound. It's bound in a weird way as well. I suspect at this point that pin 2, because it's binding so heavy like that, that it might actually be a no pin. But let's say we didn't know that. I'm going to want to move pin 4 up again, because we are still having to lift pin 4. Because we're on a longer pin now, I can do it with my fingers. So let's see. Right, so we'll move over to pin 4, see if we get that feeling of a correct pin. And exactly, now it's stopping properly. I'm not having to lift it to make it move. So pin 1, yeah, pin 1 now is giving us that. You can even see it on the bolt. It's giving us a little click over. So pin 1 will have to go up. Like I say, we can do this all a bit quicker. Okay. So pin 1 now is tapping where it should be. And what you would do is, because we've only got pin 2 left to go, rather than going up all the way through the pins and then discovering that none of them has give you that feeling that you want, then taking it out to check that it's not a 0 pin. What we're doing, pin 2 is currently on 3. Whilst we've got that out of the pick, we just give it a test. And if it doesn't open, knowing that all the rest feel like they're in the right place, then we'll put pin 4 into the position 2 and carry on going up. Make sure everything's flat. And the lock opens. So it was a 1 cut. So I leave a number 1 in the lock. And whilst you're changing the pin over, may as well stick it in and give it a go, just in case. And in this case, it saved us going up through the other pins for pin 2. But if it didn't go, like I say, you would then just load in the next pin, try it, feel it, move on. So you can get them open without doing a reading with the key. Obviously, doing a reading with the key is going to pretty much get us where we need to be almost anyway. If you ever have readings on your key which you doubt and you think you might know what it is, always put it something lower, because you can always move up. And if you ever happen to load a pin in a cut higher than what the reading says, you can go through and feel still, and you're going to feel it's not right, and then you can keep going up, and then you'll hit the top, which is number 7, and then realize it must have been something lower than that, and then you can change it out and go through it till you hit the right one. It's a bit of fun, really. You don't, I might not do it this way on a door, but it's nice to know I've got the option if something goes wrong with my key reader, or, oh goodness, I don't know, let's say I run out of plasticine or something silly, then we can still use this tool to get it open. Nice bit of kit. Give it a go yourselves while you've got a bit of time spare sat at home, and see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around on the long video. Give us a thumbs up if you made it this far. Cheers.